All right, here we go.
All right.
I think we are
We are live.
We are live.
It
Yay.
says we're live. That's so exciting. Good evening. I'm Irina. Welcome to Film Strip Live. Usually we talk about movies and sometimes we just rattle on about music, but tonight we're doing something completely different. Jay, thank you so much for sticking with me with this idea. We have Rodney Norman with us. So, Rodney, welcome to our show. How are you this evening?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Did
you have a good day today? What did you do today?
That's a spectacular day. Got some corn nuts.
What flavor?
Just regular corn nuts.
I'm always afraid those would break my teeth. Did you eat them all, or did you like spread it
Suck
out?
on them.
Portions?
That's the trick. That's the secret to the corn nuts. You got to suck on them for a bit. Don't just crunch into them. Holy cow, it's not a Tootsie Pop.
I have no patience. I just bite right into those things. I just want the flavor.
No,
you have no patience?
You got to savor. Got to savor them.
So, Rodney, Rodney, I first came across you because I saw one of your videos pop up on my Facebook, probably like May, maybe April, and you have a lot to say about the world and kind of giving everybody advice. And you came around at a time where like I really appreciated and needed you. Do you feel like you really have given people a lot to think about in the past few months?
Well, I just noticed there's a lot of people saying a lot of stupid things, and so I thought, somebody needs to say something else, and so I just started saying something else. And then a lot of people said, "Hey, I like what he's saying," because I'd like to say that too, but I was scared to say it, so I just kept saying it because I'm not scared to say it. So by saying stuff that people didn't think they should say, and then I started saying it, and then they're like, "Hey, this sounds pretty good. I like what he's saying," and so I figured, well, I'll just keep talking because people like what I'm saying, so I'll just keep saying stuff.
I mean, I want you to keep saying stuff. I could listen to you all day long. So I have one question for you, though, and I feel like this is something that needs to kind of be asked because so you and I have some of the same T-shirts, which is really important because it means we have the same fashion sense. Team Walmart or Team Target? I need to know. Not today. Say, hey, hold on. Wreck-It. I got Wreck-It Ralph. So,
Rodney, that looks like a sign where I'm originally from Alabama. I think that's on the side of one of our interstates, something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I get them everywhere. I get them everywhere. Target. I would say Target probably more than Walmart.
Okay. All right.
But at the same, they just they have a little bit more of a variety. Walmart, they figure out what sells, and then they just have more of that.
Yeah,
Target's a little more patient.
Very true.
So, and Kohl's, I like Kohl's, but thrift shops are the best place to get T-shirts.
I have a great shirt that I got at a thrift shop that has a picture of a spork, and it says "Spork, the other white utensil."
That is magnificent.
It is, and then it goes into the anatomy of the spork. Now, I feel a spork is most useful when you're eating macaroni and cheese, but anybody can argue.
Absolutely, it should just be called the mac and cheese utensil.
Right, you have a grapefruit spoon, you can have a mac and cheese spoon.
Absolutely.
It's the second greatest thing KFC gave us. I mean, that's by far.
Absolutely.
But what was the first greatest thing? I just need to know that.
Obviously, the secret recipe that everybody knows. But yeah, so
followed closely by the biscuits. You can dip it in the gravy.
Agreed.
They used to have young lady. They used to have real potato mashed potatoes. And then somewhere in the 80s, they started doing the instant potatoes. And then at that point, there wasn't any reason to get the mashed potatoes except for the gravy, so you could dip the biscuit in it.
No, nice.
I agree with all of that. So, Rodney, this is a film podcast, usually, or a movie podcast. So I just had to ask this question. If you could be cast as any character in any movie, what would it be and what movie?
Oh, Joe versus the volcano. Joe. Greatest movie of all time.
So, like, on the heels of Jay's question, because this is kind of another one that I really want to know for my own personal reasons. And it was also sent in by a friend of mine. Which Muppets character do you most identify with?
Animal.
Yes!
I was going to go with that. The hair just gave that away.
I love Animal.
So,
He says what everybody needs to hear, but nobody wants to listen.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay. That may
that
have made my night. Especially when he runs around going, woman, woman, woman. That might be one of my favorite Animal moments. But, you know, he's got plenty of them.
good drummer, too. He can lay down a good beat. So,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Animal. Yeah.
Animal's got a lot of good qualities. So again, I came across you. You popped up on my Facebook feed, and I was like, I wonder if I can friend request Rodney. And sure enough, I could, and you said yes. And I was like, who's this guy? He's so
You're
cool.
one of the lucky ones that got in there.
I know. How did that happen? It's okay. It's great that it happened. And the other night, I think I like just posted on one of your videos. It was one of your great videos where I think you were standing in a field telling us, you know, what life is. And I was like, I want to interview you. And you said, let's do it. So here we are. But inquiring minds want to know, does your wife allow you to pick out Christmas presents for other people?
That's an odd question.
I know, right? I told you I had the weirdest questions for you tonight.
Sure. Why not? I'm a good picker. I picked her.
This is true. This is true.
Where did you pick her from, Rodney?
She just sort of showed up out of nowhere, to be honest with you. We had mutual friends. A mutual friend that we both thought was crazy. The only reason that we were friends with her is because she was crazy. And then she introduced us to one another, and we just kind of liked the cut of her jib, and then we just just started hanging out and just kept hanging out, and figured, well, we should probably just keep hanging out.
How long have you been hanging out for?
We've been happily married 28 years. In fact, hey, let's bring her in.
That sounds
Hey,
great.
come over here,
Yay!
darling. Come over. I got the missus right here with me.
It's
Hello.
the missus. Woohoo!
Hello, Tracy.
Hello.
So nice to see you. I'm psyched. Yay, it's like a 2-for-1.
Rodney, the way you described how you met your wonderful wife is exactly how I met Irina. She already talked about our co-host Ron, and he said, I've got this crazy friend you should meet on and have on the show. And I did. And then here we are a year later. So yeah, we have this in common.
Yeah.
I didn't marry her, but I worked with her.
No, but
So,
now he's stuck.
Well, it was it was a crazy week, and then we decided to get married. So
I mean,
I think that's how it happens with, spouses.
It's just, when you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We have Kathy watching you tonight, and she wants to know what your superpower would be. If you had a superpower, what's your superpower?
I believe the only real superpower that anyone should ever aspire to is that of Batman or Iron Man, and that, of course, is the superpower of large amounts of disposable cash.
We all wish we had that right now.
I completely agree with all of that.
Because if you can fly, then people just want you to help them move.
Yeah.
And then if you like invisibility, if anybody ever says they want invisibility, you need to not be friends with them anymore, because it's creepy.
Look,
Yeah.
I saw the Kevin Bacon movie. I know that does not end well. So
No. If somebody wants invisibility, they need a therapist, not invisibility.
that is true. That is
Absolutely.
so. Tagging onto that for a second, like, would Aquaman be an actual useful friend to have around if you lived in a landlocked state?
Absolutely not. Unless you run a fresh fish restaurant.
Yeah, no, at that point, I
Kind
think
of a-
Ant-Man would be more productive than Aquaman.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I mean, look, once you get past, 100 feet from the shoreline, who cares?
But then
But-
again, we have to address whether Aquaman, is he like a freshwater fish or does he need salt water?
I think it's clearly defined that he is a saltwater.
All right. Then one of
But
my questions-
the Saturday morning cartoon version, he did dabble in fresh lakes and rivers.
Yep.
Oh,
I remember that.
didn't know
That's the
that.
orange and green one, right?
Uh-huh.
Not the Jason Momoa one, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that was when he had his leotard on. That was good.
Speaking of oceans, Rodney, I'm really curious about this. If the ocean could speak, what do you think the voice would sound like? Would it be watery, or do you think it would be normal?
That's well, I guess it depends on where you're standing. Because if you're in the water, then it probably sounds pretty normal, and then when you're away from it, kind of loses some volume. So it'd be kind of like, if you're there. Hello, this is the ocean speaking. But you get away and it's like, hello, hey, over here. And then you're like,
There it
what's
is.
going on? Is somebody drowning?
Yeah.
Oh god.
So there's a moment on every show that doesn't usually make the final cut, everybody, where I try to get Irina to snort like she just did.
You didn't make me snort.
And
It
is
was
gold.
him.
Or somebody doing it, and it's always gold. It's rarely me that does it. It's usually somebody else in the show, but I love that moment. So you've done that at like record pace, Rodney. So
So we talked about our t-shirts when we got on here, and somebody wants to know if you would ever do a t-shirt swap with somebody. With any of your fans, would you do t-shirt swaps?
People have been sending me cash and buying the shirts from me, have me sign them and send it to them. So
That is awesome.
yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, that's great. So t-shirt swaps are good. Sarah says that she's a t-shirt collector, so she wanted to know.
Ah,
Our buddy James is drowning in giggles. Somebody wanted to know what your favorite cookie is. Apparently you like cookies. Do you like cookies?
I love cookies.
I
And
did see you with animal crackers the other day, and I thought I was going to pee myself.
I love the animal crackers. Those were my favorite as a child. But currently my favorite is it's a cranberry walnut cookie. And they're delicious.
Buy them or make them?
They're made at a local the Big Y here in Connecticut. It's the only place that's where I found them.
So you're in Connecticut right now?
Yep. We're in our Connecticut residence. And this
love
is where
that.
the pond is located. Whenever you see the pond, that's my backyard here in Connecticut.
All right. So Jay gave away where he grew up. I'm originally from Vermont. So, you're in my home turf right now. Though
Yeah.
I'm stuck in Virginia with all the craziness that's going on in the world. You know what? So I'm just going to digress a little bit. We brought up Ant-Man there for a second. We brought up landlocked states. We brought up Ant-Man. And I told you weird questions were the name of the game tonight. Have you ever stared at an ant farm long enough that you forgot where you were in space and time?
When I was a child in Yerington, Nevada, I became fascinated with ants. In fact, I heard the word anthropologist, and so I assumed it meant that you liked ants. So I said I was going to become an anthropologist. And I used to go and hang out with ants all the time. So I used to watch ant mounds. And I was people were told me I should get an ant farm. And I said, no, that is cruel. Ants deserve to be free. So I don't stare at ants. I just go stare at ant hills.
That would be
So
more
one day I
interesting.
stood too long. I just sat there, and I think they took me as a threat, and they kind of outflanked me and started crawling up the back of my pants. and anyway, my fascination with ants ended that day.
That would do it.
Mrs. Norman, because I'm
Yes.
going to mess up the pronunciation of your first name, and I'm not going to lie. I know I'm going to screw it up. So, at least I know who I am. Does he make you laugh like this every day?
Well, I have gotten kind of used to him, but I will tell you, for the first couple of years that we were married, I bugged him all the time. I said, "You've got to get on stage," and he did not want to get on stage. He was very, very reluctant. And one night, some friends and we decided to go to a comedy show. And after we did that, he looked up at the two guys who were performing and he said, "Oh, I can do that." And I said, "I know, you've been doing that this whole time." So that's when he finally decided to make it official and become a comedian. And much to the disappointment of my parents, that's what he's done ever since.
They still don't get it.
No.
It's okay. They don't have to. They don't have to. With the things I've done in my life, my parents don't get it either.
So I was on the farm with my father-in-law a couple years ago, and one of the hay bales caught on fire because what happened?
There was a water bottle in the hay and the
and it got compressed, or
yeah.
Well,
it had some water in it, and the sunlight went through the water bottle, and the hay caught on fire.
So the hay caught
no
on
kidding.
fire. I was the first one that noticed it, and I started working on it, trying to put it out. And then he came over, and we started trying to put it out. I had to call the fire department and all this stuff. And so as we're standing there staring at the hay, he goes, "Well, this is a total loss. We can't feed this to the cattle." And I said, "Well, why not? Why don't you just tell them it's barbecue?" And he just stared at me like I was the biggest moron he had ever seen in his entire life.
It's a true story.
He just doesn't. He's never thought anything I ever said was ever funny. But I love the man. He's a pretty cool dude.
What kind of farm does he have? You mentioned cows, but what does he have?
I grew up on a farm with we had a couple hundred acres of dry farm and a little bit of irrigated, and we had horses and cows, and never did chickens, but we had some goats for a little while, and we had a sheep one time that we rescued, just found abandoned and rescued.
Do you hear the
Didn't do
crying,
pigs,
Teresa,
but-
for the sheep? Do you hear the crying for the sheep?
oh
Teresa?
no, don't do it.
Hello, Clarice.
Yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist when you said that.
It's okay. I do want to say you don't want chickens though. My family had chickens and they smell bad and they're mean sometimes. But
Oh, I know they're mean and they do smell bad, but we're getting chickens.
well, just don't do it as a kid.
Well,
My parents would send me out and I would come back with 6 eggs in my pockets when I was 4 after beating a turkey with a stick.
Yes,
You don't send the
Chickens
don't
are
send-
mean. You're right, 100%.
but the nice thing about chickens is when you get tired of having chickens, you just
have
a
chicken
really
dinner.
You just have a nice dinner. It's
You break
over.
out that KFC recipe and you go to town. That's what you do.
We got an air fryer now. The boys have been fascinated with the air fryer,
Yeah.
so they've been cooking for us.
And
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
So you say the boys, are those your kids?
Yeah, they're older now. They could be on their own, but we'd kick them out. But they cook. So
Well, and they're like cats. They just come back, right?
yeah, just come back.
we would actually have been on their own a couple of times, but they do come back. And it's convenient, so we let them stay.
Or, hey, you know what? If
Yeah,
they're
we
cooking
can-
for
we
you,
can-
go with it.
We can leave, and they stay here and take care of the house. So
Yeah, the youngest one takes really great care of the yard, and the oldest one has money. So
Oh,
you go.
cool. Can you send them
Right.
both to my house? Because I need money and my yard looks like crap. So, I could borrow them. I could put them to good use. I've got
Put them on
Enough.
interns. That's what
Yeah,
they
you
are.
can just-
Irena's interns.
my interns. It would be great. I would
Yeah,
love
you
that.
need an intern. Yeah, you really need an intern. So.
I'll send them over.
I need an assistant to keep me in line is what I need.
I thought that was my job.
You're really screwing it up tonight though. So now that we've kind of touched on like how he got his start. It sounds like you kind of said, "Here, do this."
Right.
And he kept coming back and you kept having to shove him back out. So where did you really kind of get your love for comedy? Like, we'll go to the serious side of you. Where did you get your love of comedy? You know,
Well, I've always loved the idea of doing stand-up. I just never knew how to get into it or, you know, anything. And once I finally got on stage and did it, got a couple chuckles, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. And just never looked back. Love every minute of it.
Good. And you kind of had a life before comedy though. Like it sounds like you've done a lot of things before comedy.
Yeah, like I said, I was a missionary. I was in the Marine Corps. I've been a carpenter, had my own business, done a lot of acting, done a lot of, you know, background work in some films. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of all kinds of stuff, but improv is improv.
He says when he retires, he's going to race cars.
Hey,
Yeah,
you know what?
my family had a racetrack when I was in high school. So my first public foray into entertainment was being a racetrack announcer when I was 16.
Oh, that's fun.
I live
Yeah.
in Charlotte now, so NASCAR the whole bit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a brother who works for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah,
but
so
we have
that was
We have a dirt track right down the road from our house. We can hear those cars going around all the time.
Yeah, we have a track in town too that we can hear from our back porch. So he
Yeah.
loves it.
Now, what was your MOS when you were in the Marine Corps? What'd you do?
2531. I was a radio operator.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. Thank you for your service. That's
Yeah,
Thank you. You're
absolutely.
welcome.
seriously.
Like-
Thank you.
Yeah,
I want to know, because Irina hit on this a little bit too, but where you draw inspiration from, and how do you decide which train of thought to follow when you're making some of your videos and things?
There is no train of thought when I'm making the videos. I'll be perfectly honest with that. I just sort of
That's
turn
awesome.
the camera on, and whatever happens, happens.
That's awesome.
I think there's only been 3 videos where I redid them. Almost all of them are one take.
I love
just,
that.
You know, and if mistakes, whatever, because you know the character doesn't. You know, Leonard doesn't really care if the audio's bad or if there's, you know,
Cars passing by.
cars passing by.
If his remote works or not.
It just
Yeah.
adds to the ambiance of all of it, right?
That's what, you know, a lot of it. That character in particular, the influence came from my grandfather, who was an alcoholic,
Oh,
and he used to try to teach lessons to me and my cousin Jeff, because we were about real close to the same age, and so he would sit us at the kitchen table while he was smoking and you know, drinking out of his coffee cup, which was usually whiskey, and he would start telling us all these stories, and it was this half coherent ramblings that I remember that was the inspiration for that character. So
I think
And-
we all have one of those in our lives at some point that kind of inspires us to grow.
yeah,
I know Jay really wanted to know this about you. Who are your favorite comedians? Because Jay
Well-
knows more about comedy than I do. Give me like theater and drama, but give Jay like that kind of stuff.
okay, my absolute favorite was probably a toss up between Jonathan Winters and Bob Newhart when I was growing up, and then Robin Williams. I really dug Robin Williams, and I would say lately it's probably Brian Regan.
I know him.
Oh,
is
yeah.
my favorite.
Regan's really good. I was going to ask you too. There's sometimes in some of your videos when you're just sort of running and following the rabbit, or literally is. I feel like I'm listening to John Madden if he didn't talk about football. It's some of the same kind of energy. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
it's
ever
just
heard
sort
that
of
or
that
not.
half coherent ramblings, and then somehow loops back, and it almost makes sense.
It comes back to start where it ends where it started. And you realize, like, I think he said a thing, but I'm not sure. But okay, I take it. I mean,
It's like
But
having
it's funny
conversations
because
with me.
sometimes he goes back and he watches his videos after he's made them, and it'd be like a week or 2 weeks after he's made it and posted it, and he's like, I forgot what I said, and so he has to go back and watch it. And then when he watches it, he's like, oh, I said that. That was actually pretty good.
I had one where all the comments were, kept stating this same thing over and over again. I'm going, why are they saying that? And then I watched the video. I was like, oh, okay, that was it. There,
I said it. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So-
Once we finish a show and it's put in the can or whatever, like my brain, it just exits my brain, and I have no idea like what I said on the thing. And we record way in advance usually, so like we'll record something that's coming out in December, like in a week, and then once it's done, I'm done with it, and I don't think about it anymore. And every now and then, one of our listeners will go like, "Oh, I really liked it when you said this," and then I'm like, "Did one of us say that on the show? I don't know." Like I feel you. Like once I'm done with it, it just sort of exits my brain and I move on.
Yeah, I have fans who know my material better than I do.
Yep. That's great.
I had another question. Is it Kathy? Kathy wants to know if you like Missouri.
I love Missouri. We lived there. That's actually where I started doing stand-up comedy, was in Kansas City.
She said she got to meet you there a few weeks ago or something.
Yes, I did a show at my sister's restaurant, and Kathy showed up.
Yep.
She was my one and only fan.
Just one? That's not fair.
No, everybody else in the restaurant was just there to eat, and they're like, "What are you doing? We're gonna have a comedy show." Well, okay, I guess you'll stick around. And then Kathy showed up with her friends and made it all worthwhile.
Well, once Virginia opens up, I've got to get you down here because I run a theater, and oh my gosh, do I have a stage for you?
I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
It's an old train station, and it's like,
sounds
yeah.
awesome.
It's a really cool place. I had a chance to see a show there, and it's fantastic.
We got to get you there. But
well, they do good stuff with the train stations in Virginia. The Richmond train station was absolutely they restored that. And one night I'm catching a train in Richmond, and they're having a wedding reception in the train station.
Right?
That's awesome.
Right then, as we're catching the train, and it was like, it's a little different, but okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, James says that he'll follow you to Virginia if you come here.
Yeah, James wants to follow us everywhere.
Well, it's because he's literally your biggest fan. That's really what it is.
He is. He's amazing.
He's been amazing.
He started. Well, I guess he's been a cartoonist most of his life, and with me, he's found a new passion. So now he's driving everybody crazy with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, but how awesome is it that you have inspired people to renew their passion and things that they love?
Mm-hmm.
It's just awesome getting that. Every day I wake up with messages from people talking about how they've started doing something that they've always wanted to do, or took back up a new passion, or just are starting to enjoy life again for the first time in a while. And it's incredible. It's a lot of fun, and it's just. And, I just wanted to, do something stupid and silly and entertain people, and have it turn into what it's turned into has been just absolutely amazing. A lot of fun.
He's giddy all the time.
He should be.
What's one of like the farthest away fans you've ever heard from or met or anything, even online like that?
I have a large following in Australia.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they tend to have a good sense of humor too, though.
Oh, they do. They're wonderful people, very funny, very smart. We've got people. It's funny. I get phone. I'll get Facebook calls from people in Ireland, England, South Africa.
A South Africa one, that was funny because we thought it was a Nigerian prince calling to give us a bunch of money, and
wouldn't that have been nice?
Some dude who had watched his video. Right? And he's like, you're keeping it very real for us here in South Africa, and we love you, man.
That's
So
That
he's got a decent following in South Africa.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Man, I couldn't imagine. That's so cool.
Rodney, I was looking
So-
on your website into like, booking you and things like that. And I wanted to ask you, if you're headlining a place, like what do you look for in opening acts? I'm always curious as to, the kind of people that comedians want to work with when they're, setting up shows and things like that.
I love everybody. I love a comedian who's really creative and different.
He actually, I think he loves working with a lot of new comics who, because he's become kind of a I don't know, guru at helping young comics find their voice. And so he'll go to open mics and watch some of the new talent coming up and just give them, oh, why don't you say this, or why don't you do it this way, or why don't you do it that way? So he's got he loves watching new comics. I'll tell you that. So
well, and you have a BS in philosophy, is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So
BA.
is it BA? I don't know. I think
I
it's
don't know.
No, it's science.
No, it's
It's
nice.
actual
Okay,
science.
science.
either way, you have a degree in philosophy. Does that
Yes.
help you with like your acts? Does it help you when helping younger comedians? And
Well, yeah. Well, I was studying theater, but they didn't offer a 4-year degree, and to keep my GI Bill, I had to switch to something else.
gotcha.
And I'd always been fascinated by philosophy, and I'd been, studying it my whole life. And so I thought, oh, why not get a degree in it? And it's actually been better than any theater class because, philosophy, you're studying everything. And and it's such a broad spectrum that you dabble in. And, it's been fun incorporating a lot of that into these skits and my stand-up. I usually just kind of sprinkle it in. People who know what the philosophy is, they get it. Other people just think I'm weird. And then the people that know what I'm talking about think I'm even weirder. So
Who are your favorite ones to read?
I love Spinoza, Alvin Plantinga. I love Kant, just because and Nietzsche. Nietzsche was basically a stand-up comedian that didn't have anywhere to perform.
That's why all these stuff are memes nowadays. I swear. Yes.
I've dabbled with the idea of actually doing a one-man show of Nietzsche's philosophy as a stand-up comedian.
I
I think you just need to dive headfirst into that. That needs to be a goal.
That you did do that at the Winchester in Virginia. That was gold.
Oh.
And have Derrida as a heckler in the crowd or something.
Oh, there you go.
See, so I needed to have somebody with me during this because the guys that I work with when we do this podcast, they know so much more about life than I do. I can keep the ball rolling, but these guys blow my mind.
No. My whole knowledge about philosophy comes from really one place, and he passed away a couple years ago. But the guy that was the drummer in my college band, Stuart, was a history and philosophy dude. I mean, he got his PhD in it eventually. And he would sit back literally playing drums, paying no attention to what we were doing, reading a book, and never miss time. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The guy would be reading and we'd be over there trying to jam a song. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna play the same thing underneath it all the time. But he got me into all this stuff, and it was fascinating. He's really opened my mind up, though. I appreciated it. So that's where my knowledge of it comes from, is straight from Stuart Rice.
My knowledge of philosophy comes from Kevin Kline and A Fish Called Wanda. So there really isn't much there.
Hey, that's pretty close.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Hey, start small, it gets bigger. We're good.
Every time I think about that, I just think about that bit where he keeps dropping the one hand and raising the other one up in Fish Called Wanda.
Oh my gosh, that movie's fabulous.
I'm a mark for anything Jamie Lee Curtis does. I'll watch her do Activia commercials. I don't care.
Absolutely, 100%. She's a great representation of how women should be accepting of themselves. But on another note, we're going to keep it going.
that just kind of landed right in there.
I'll just dive that in there.
Throw it in there. It's not even my platform, but
I
it's
didn't
fine.
think we were doing that tonight.
Down with the patriarchy.
No. But this is great because this goes into one of Jay's questions that he wasn't even really going to ask. His question was about your use of awkward silence, both in traditional acting and in your character work. So there was that moment.
It's about tension. Tension. You build the tension. You let them create within their own mind their anticipation and expectations. And then you attach it!
I was very Al Pacino.
What movies have you been in the background in? Because you said you're in the background in them.
Oh, the first one was Independence Day.
Oh, we reviewed that on this show years ago.
Where were you in Independence Day? Why didn't I see more of you?
What scene were you in?
He was an extra.
Was an extra. All the stuff where they were at Area 51.
Yeah.
The hangar and all that. It was filmed out in the West Desert in Utah, Wendover, Utah. And I was out there for about a week.
Well, it's actually kind of funny because he thought his big scene was going to be, he was one of the guys pushing in the alien when Will Smith comes in from the desert and they're pushing the alien into the underground locker. Yeah, and he's like, you can see me. I'm right there. I'm right there. And so we went and saw it in the theater. We couldn't see him. So finally we got it on DVD and you get to that scene and you stop and you go frame by frame.
And for a brief second, it's my face.
You can stop. And if you look under Will Smith's armpits, you can see his face.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, so what's the next one? Because now I'm going to go watch Independence Day and freeze frame.
That's going to get posted in a week.
Till I see this part of you without a beard. So then I have to go do like reference photos and find a picture of you. And go, okay.
Not that Irina's a stalker.
I'm not a stalker. I just have attention to detail. I just finished a reading of The Music Man, and the guy who was playing Harold Hill. If you do these online readings, because that's what all of us theater people are having to do now, which is fabulous. Like you just see people's living rooms or their bedrooms in the background. Well, there was a bottle of Kahlua and then a bunch of other stuff. And I said, just in case anybody else is doing a scene study, Harold Hill likes White Russians. And I just let it sit there.
Sometimes it's funnier when nobody gets it.
It is.
Then I would say his next big movie was I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Also a film we reviewed this year on this. So what scene were you in, or sort of in?
The best. I'm in several scenes because I was working on that for about a month. But the best scene is after the killer started killing everybody. They went and confronted the Ryan Felipe character on the docks.
Yep.
And while they're standing there talking, I'm there wearing a black beanie and I go walking past them just in the background.
I've got to go back and watch this now.
You catch me for like just a second.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good.
He was a random fisherman in several scenes. So
but there most of the time it's just my side or my back or it's too far away.
That one scene though with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze, is that who it was? Anyway, he comes walking up behind him and you can see him.
I know the scene you're talking about. I'm gonna go back and rewatch that now.
I'm the guy walking behind him.
That scene. Oh, that's perfect.
One of those. It was one of those things where they're like, okay, don't look at the camera. And the whole time you're thinking.
You're like side-eyeing the camera.
I'm not looking. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. I don't do film. I can't do film. So you can.
Oh, that's fantastic. What are some other roles? Keep going, because we keep running down shows we've done amazingly.
I did this one that was like called Anasazi Moon or something. I've never actually seen it. I don't know if it was with Gary Oldman as a prisoner. I've never been able to find it. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I've done a bunch of commercials over the years,
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
What kind of products did you do commercials for?
My most notable
Yes.
was a commercial for the Salt Lake County Storm Drain Commission.
Well, there you go.
It's run for many years.
They told me they only run them for 4 years and then they make a new one.
Oh,
And it's now 10 years. They keep running this
Awesome.
thing.
It's because of you. It was you were perfection.
Well, if you ever watch it, the story is that, whatever you put down the drains goes into waterways, goes into streams and ponds and stuff. So you should be careful about what you put down storm drains.
Well, absolutely.
But my thing is I'm washing my truck and then I get swept down into the storm drain and end up in a duck pond. And as I'm cruising down the underground tunnels, there's a very unmanly scream that you hear. That is me. So you got to check that out. Just know that was not sweetened. That was not. We did not use
Any sound effects?
That was me screaming like a little schoolgirl on a roller coaster.
It's like my son. Anytime I jump out and scare him, I get that loud, high-pitched scream.
My wife specializes in trying to give me the heart attack of all time. And I can watch all manner of scary movies, nothing, right? I can come around a corner in the dark and I'm just
And she is this tiny little innocent woman, and you would not expect it from her.
Innocent. She married to me. There ain't nothing innocent about that. I have to say shout out to my friend Mike Scott from the Dana Buckler Show. He lives and works in Salt Lake City, so he's getting a kick out of it. And so he's had us on that show several times, and he's been on Film Strip with us several times too. So he's getting a real kick out of this. But yeah,
sorry, my child brought me a stinky cat, so I
saw you were handed a cat just randomly.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is your house.
I got a puppy that's crying at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
So
which puppy is it? Which one is it?
It's the
Because you have
Douglas,
two, right?
the pit bull. Yeah, the pit bull mix.
he's
He's the biggest baby.
Yeah, everybody
Gets
says they're
scared
ferocious
at night.
and they're
Used
the
to sleep with
sweetest.
somebody.
Yeah.
He's
Oh.
pure muscle and can kill anything that he wanted to, and he's just the biggest.
He just
baby.
wants to lick you to death. I mean, that's what they're.
Yeah.
that's it.
My brother-in-law had a bull mastiff for a few years, but they have this little Yorkie as well, and the Yorkie bossed that thing around. It was scared of the Yorkie.
It was
It did not
Napoleon
know
syndrome.
what to do. It was funny. It was the sweetest dog. So, that's great.
Oh. All right. So I had somebody ask, does your wife do your hair? Or is that just how it naturally does its thing?
She does give me scalp massages.
Ooh.
That's our thing. We watch. She puts on something on Netflix, and then I just lay my head in her lap, and she scratches my head.
That's a
That's
good
about
like,
it.
Netflix and chill. That's a good way to go.
Gives him the great hairstyles.
Do you ever twirl it so it stands up in like horns or anything?
We can do all kinds of weird stuff.
Do some Einstein with that, man. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's going to be his next philosophical post.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
That's kind of like Buddy Holly and a good wind. So if he had got off the plane. So.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the random questions here because I got to get through some of them.
Okay.
If you could pick one 1970s pop star to go camping with, who would it be?
1970s.
It was very
Okay.
particular.
Elvis. Absolutely Elvis.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, you gotta understand. I'm an Elvis fan.
He's a big Elvis fan.
A junkie, an Elvis junkie.
Very
Yeah.
much.
What is your favorite Elvis song?
All of them.
Oh, can't just pick one. They're all great.
No, I refuse. I refuse to pick one.
Celebrate the
He
whole
listens
catalog.
to the Elvis station on Sirius Radio so he can get all the latest trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. My mom was such an Elvis fan. At Christmas, she had a blue tree with nothing but Christmas Elvis ornaments on it. It was like
Hello, blue
yeah.
Christmas without you. Even Doug likes Elvis.
Right.
So
But-
then that begs the question, though. Do you think Elvis is still alive?
Yes.
All right, done.
If nowhere else, he is in my heart.
And you know what? And that's all that matters.
You know
Jason?
why? His tombstone, only one A.
That's true.
His name is Elvis Aaron Presley, and his middle name is misspelled on his tombstone. Why? Because it's not really him.
I've seen that in
He's not
person.
dead.
Yep. You're
No
right.
kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm learning stuff tonight. I am
There you
learning
go.
stuff tonight.
Graceland is the ultimate example of why you can never get rednecks that kind of money. Like that
Absolutely.
is not gonna go well.
The jungle room. You just go into the jungle room, you go, okay.
Yeah. There were lines that needed to be drawn and nobody was there to do it.
That's like those.
At the
That's
same
like those.
time, it's glorious.
Yeah.
That reminds me of those emails you get where your name is in the name is in the sent from thing, and somebody still spells your name wrong when they send an email back to
Yep.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that never happens to me. Nobody ever mispronounces. Nobody
No,
ever misspells.
Your life is
Nobody
easy.
ever has any trouble. I have such a simple name. It's not a problem.
Look,
How is
it's
it
awesome. My bill
spelled?
collectors call. They say, we want to speak to Teresa. I don't know who that is. I've never heard of a Teresa. There's no Teresa here.
So how do you spell your first name?
It's
Incorrectly.
I tell people it's really easy to remember. It's there and ass backwards.
Yep, I got it.
Teressa. It's really simple. You'll never forget it.
No, I'm
Or-
never gonna screw it
or-
up. It's
There you
fine.
go. Or you just say Teresa with an H and an extra S.
Yeah, well,
But if you want to tell people ass backwards,
Oh, God.
it's a contextual opportunity.
I don't remember if this came from Irina's friend that sent in a lot of questions, or if our friend Ron wrote this one, but it's an important question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
This is very important.
No,
No.
Is it a sub or a hoagie?
it is a hot dog.
it is its own classification.
It has
Then,
its own
then
moment.
where do we put bratwurst and stuff like that? Are they their own classification too?
I mean, yeah, if hot
Or
dogs
are they
its own
just
family,
sausages?
I think the only thing you need to call them is delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Do you have any more questions laying around, Jay? I know you could probably pick some up, but I want to know what's next, because
Yeah.
are you gonna do more with acting or just stick with comedy? Where is Leonard gonna take us? I mean, don't give away too much because I don't want you to spoil it for us. But
Well, I want to do motivational speaking, one-man shows, more theater kind of stuff, and stand-up. I'm doing everything. I'm
Love
an entertainer, and I will entertain everywhere
Oh my
and
gosh.
anywhere.
well, you absolutely entertained us tonight, and we're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna wrap up because I think I will pee myself if I laugh at you. My children keep wandering in like, Mom, what are you doing? Why are you so loud?
Yeah.
Why are you talking so loud? You're on the computer with people I don't know. What's going on? I'm like, So,
Roddy, Teresa, thank y'all so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having us.
oh my gosh, you guys have been great. You're wonderful. Oh my God, and they're cute too.
Right?
What? There are other people who want to say that you are their favorite entertainer ever. Yeah, I mean, you some of your talks, even though you were in character doing them, how to be a cool person, marriage advice, finding the perfect, all that stuff. It really comes back to that point that you made at the beginning of this, that you want to say the things that nobody else is saying, that you want to be real. I appreciate that. That's what I love about you and why I continue to click play on YouTube.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you, for everything that
Yes.
you guys are doing, especially right now when the world is just a big kerfuffle.
Yes.
And
I love the fact that you use kerfuffle.
hey, I try. Every once in a while there's a word. But there are other choice words that have a C and an F in them, but I'm not going to use them. I'll stay PG tonight. But yeah, I mean, you guys, both of you have lightened up people's lives like right now when the weirdness is happening, when we have to go out and wear a mask. I don't know about you guys over when you're in Utah, because I know I've seen some acts where you don't have to mask, but I know where I am in Virginia, it's like a whole different story.
Oh yeah, well, when we're in Connecticut, we definitely have to wear a mask everywhere. They want you to even wear them outside and in your car and everywhere. I mean, it's insane.
You can't breathe your own germs in the car?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Did somebody cough in your air filter or something?
It's more, the mask is more of an indicator that you're a better person than everyone around you.
Like I voted stickers. So.
Exactly.
Look, I made a difference. I'm helping.
Well,
The future of the world depends on me.
That's an excellent note to end on. Rodney, thank you so much for being here. Tracy, thank you so much for sharing and sharing with us. We really appreciate both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who watched here on Film Strip Live. Y'all have a good evening.